Hello, everyone. Welcome to our today's session on the business objects as a Tableau data source, the missing puzzle piece. Now, we have done various sessions as to how to connect Tableau to business objects. What are the different methods that we have customers using InfoBurst, or how do we connect Tableau with business objects on the other side? Like how could we embed business objects inside Tableau and other stuff? Now, this webinar is solely going to be focused on business objects as a data source, meaning there are several data sources within business objects. It starts from the universes, and from the universes, you can have a Webi data provider, and within Web Intelligence, you can create a lot of formulas. There are several different data elements that might be required for your Tableau data source. And imagine a scenario where you need to create a Tableau dashboard, which has business objects as one of the data sources, and maybe there's another Excel file, or there is another SQL query or from a Redshift database. How do we bring everything into one single Tableau dashboard is what we are going to see in our today's demo / presentation as we go through it. And let me start with the number of connections that are available within Tableau Server. This is a screenshot from Tableau 2021.1. I don't have the 2021.2 version. We already have like 50 plus data source connections. And as you see, it connects to any database that is JDBC, ODBC compliant as well, apart from the native database connections that Tableau offers. And you do notice that, yes, there are a lot of SAP data source connections. SAP as a software company is also a vendor to Tableau. So there is a native connection to SAP HANA database, SAP BW, Sybase database, which SAP owns, and Sybase IQ as well. But what's missing in this whole puzzle is the business objects connection. There is no business objects data source connections. You can't connect to a universe. You can't connect to a Webi report. Yes, there are multiple methods that people follow to have a business objects as a data source. I'm going to show different methods that people use business objects within Tableau as well. And this is something came from our customer list. How are they using Tableau with business objects, and how could we provide them a solution where they can combine every single asset of business objects into a Tableau dashboard? So the first thing that we see a lot of customers using was the export to Excel method. Now you can set up a Webi report schedule that can deliver a Webi report output in Excel. You can push it to a network drive, any shared drive, any location. And from that, you can push it via Tableau Bridge client to your Tableau server. And then the Excel is your data source in this case. It's not business objects, that's your data source. So one thing that you have to make sure in this sort of a scenario is that this Excel report, the XLSX that you download from Webi report, needs to be formatted in a certain way. It shouldn't have like any empty characters. Your column should be in a perfect manner. Even though Tableau is great at adjusting the data interpreter tool where it can take an Excel and it can format it in a way, still the data source here is Excel and not business objects. But this does work for some simple reports that you can push from a Webi report or a Crystal report. The only caveat is you need to set up a schedule for specific Tableau use cases. You need to push a Webi report that's in Excel. Say there is a schedule that you have in place for Webi reports with PDF. Now you have to create another schedule on your business object server where you need to push that Webi report in Excel format, and that Excel is your data source for Tableau. So that's the con when it comes to this approach of using export to Excel. The second approach that our customers used was taking the SQL query from the Webi query panel. Now, if you go to your Webi query panel and you click on the script viewer panel, you will see the exact SQL that's been generated from your query that you create in your Webi. So as and when you drag and drop all your objects on the universe, this query gets generated in your Webi query panel. Now you can copy this query and then you can open your Tableau Desktop. You can use the custom SQL option and you can paste the exact same SQL query and this will work. But the big caveat or the problem here is that most of your Tableau dashboard developers are from business side. You need to share your database username password with them or create a separate account for them. And then you're giving access to some of your folks in the company where they don't know how exactly SQL is written. In other words, they're just going to copy paste the SQL, but if there is anything changes that they do, it's dangerous when people start editing the SQL when they really don't know what sort of data is being generated. That's the reason Universe and Webi reports came into existence, where it's easy for business users to navigate and they don't have to learn how SQL works. So this is one way that it works for some people where they can take the SQL, copy it into Tableau, and then use that as a data source within Tableau. Now, the third method is skipping everything that BusinessObjects offers and then directly going to your database or data warehouse. This is not a bad approach if you're having like a very denormalized table where it's like a flattened data source. It has all the dimension measures that you need for a Tableau dashboard. There are no joins that are required, or maybe minimal number of inner joins or left joins that you need. In that case, yes, it works great. You're having a native connection to your database or data warehouse, be it SQL Server, Oracle, or any of the 50 database connections that I showed you. And then you can have a published data source on your Tableau server, and then you can start building your Tableau dashboard. In this case, there is no connection to BusinessObjects, but you have to go back to all the tables that are used in your Webi reports, your universes. You have to reverse engineer this whole logic and create this flattened, denormalized database table, and then push that to your Tableau server. Not a bad approach, but you have a lot of work to do if you have a heavy investment in BusinessObjects today. Now, our fourth approach that some of our customers have tried, and they are successful to a certain extent, is that, okay, here is a universe, and this is how we have created a universe here. Can we recreate this universe logic into an ETL tool such as Tableau Prep or Alteryx or Informatica or any other tool, and then have this ETL tool push this hyperfile in a scheduled format? That does work great. Again, if you have like simpler joins and then certain extra conditions. I'll show you an example where just to concatenate a customer name and the first name, last name field, what sort of work needs to go into an ETL tool. I have Alteryx as an example, so I'll show you quickly towards the end on how Alteryx can replace your universe logic to a certain extent, but the ETL tool works for a different reason. It's not an exact replacement of what our semantic layer universes do, but it does work. I would say 60 to 75% of whatever a universe does can be created in ETL logic with a good ETL developer that you find in Informatica or Alteryx for that matter. Now, then comes the problem of like, okay, here we have like 4 different types that customers use Tableau with BusinessObjects, but when we have only the Webi query panels, for example, if you need only the universes and you want to have the universe context to be supported, you want the universe prompts to be supported, you don't have a method to use that in Tableau. Then if you need just a Webi data provider, you can have a web intelligence report with multiple queries, and you can pass values from one query to another query within the Webi query panel. But if you want the Webi data provider, just the data provider which already exists in your system as a hyperfile, you don't have a native method today. You can't schedule a Webi data provider to be pushed as an Excel file. And the Webi data set, yes, this works great with export to Excel, but what if we need everything together in a single dashboard? That will be a problem to have just the Excel file. And what about other data sources? When you build a Tableau dashboard, there are several other data sources that you need to bring into the dashboard as well. What if you need another universe? What if you need BigQuery or a Redshift type database into your Tableau dashboard? What if you need an Excel file into your Tableau dashboard? So that's going to be my demo today of bringing the different assets of BusinessObjects data sources as well as external data sources into your Tableau server or your Tableau desktop and build a Tableau dashboard. So that's what I'm going to show in our presentation. And this will be helpful for any other use cases. Now, the idea here is to have BusinessObjects as one of the data source within your dashboard, and you can have additional data sources as and when it's required based on the joins that you need. So let me start with an introduction of our workflows, and I'm going to use InfoBurst, which is InfoSol's flagship product for report bursting and distribution, and some of you are already customers of InfoBurst here. So I'm going to show different methods where we can bring every single data source of the BO system into your Tableau server. Okay, so here is our InfoBurst UI, and I'm going to go into one of the folders. I'm not going to explain InfoBurst as a whole. I'm going to focus more on getting the data sources to Tableau quickly and how do we build a dashboard from there. So when I go to InfoBurst and click on workflows, you notice that we have 4 different palettes here. You have Webi to Tableau Hyper, which connects to Webi data provider and Webi report blocks. We have a database query, we have universes, we have Excel files. Now let's go in an order where, okay, we have the data mart. Let's start from the universes. So I click on Universes, and then now I have my business object server here. I click on Continue, and now I see the universe. Let's select the eFashion universe so that we can do a dashboard with multiple universes. So I'll go here, year, quarter, month, then I'll go lines, category, and then I'll select a few measures here, sales revenue, quantity sold. Continue, and then here is my Tableau server. So I'll select IB Tab Demos. I'll select Speak BO Combined. And I'll call this my eFashion. It's a UNV universe. We can connect to UNV and UNX universes. So I'll call this eFashion UNV data source. I click on Continue, save and continue, run now, and I'll let this run on the background. So I have the eFashion universe ready for my Tableau dashboard. I click on Close, and let me go back, and now I'll create another workflow to get a Webi data provider. Now, the data provider is nothing but the Webi query panel that you see here. So if I go here and open my Webi report, there are two methods that we can connect to a web intelligence report, and there are differences to it. Either if you already have a Webi report and the query is well designed, you can use the query as a data provider, or you can use the formulas that you create within the Webi report, and then you can bring that formula directly to Tableau Server as well. So let me connect to it. Okay, so here I have created a separate report block of data, and you can have your own custom formulas that you've designed in Webi, and you don't have to redefine the formulas on the Tableau server. You can just bring in the existing formulas natively into a hyperfile. So that is the logic behind getting the data block to the Webi report. Now, there's the second option where you can bring the Webi data provider. Say there is some complex queries that you have created with all the query filters. You can bring in this whole query one, which is your data provider, as a hyperfile as well. So let me create both into my Tableau workflow. So I go here, Webi as Tableau Hyper. I'll select one of my reports, customer demos, demo summary, details, landscape. I click on Continue. I could apply or give my list of values over here as well. I have a Webi prompt for customer state. I click on Continue. Same way I go here, IB Tab Demos, Speak BO Combined, select this. I'll call this Webi Report Data Provider. And let me switch to data provider option. So here is my query one. I click on Continue, save and continue, and then I'll do run now. Or let me change this workflow to summary details. Data provider. Save, run now, click OK. So while the data provider is running, I'm going to need the data block as well. So I'm going to create another workflow, Webi to Tableau Hyper, click on Continue, Consultants. I'm going to select the same report, details, summary, landscape. I don't need the prompts. I'll get all the data. And then same way, I'll go to IB Tab Demos, Speak BO Combined. We'll call this Webi Report Block. And I'm going to select my details page. Click on Continue, save and continue, and then landscape. Report block, click on Save, run now. So we already have like 3 data sources that I've created in less than 2 minutes. So we have the Webi report block, Webi data provider, universe, and let's try a SQL query as well. So within InfoBurst, we can create a database connection and we can query any ODBC compliant data source or native SQL and Oracle connections as well. So I can go to a workflow. I have a DB query to Tableau Hyper. I've already set up the connection in the interest of time. So I can click on connect. So here is a SQL query, and this can be any database ODBC compliant SQL query. I click on continue. Same way, I'll select my Speak BO Combined. Select, I'll call this BBC data source via InfoBurst. Click on continue, save and continue, and then I'll do run now. Click OK. So we have the fourth data set ready as well. This can be an ODBC. What if there is an external Excel file? Maybe there are separate targets that your marketing department has set, and that's not available in your data warehouse yet, but there's an Excel file that you want to use it as a target to your dashboard. So now we have another workflow in our latest version of InfoBurst where we can push an Excel to Tableau Hyper as well. So I select an Excel file that's on my network share. And here I have a Tableau Excel dataset. I have the Superstore dataset, which comes with Tableau Desktop. And I'm selecting the same project here, SpeakPO combined, Excel data source via InfoBurst. I'll use the orders, click on continue, save and continue, run now. All right. So in less than 5 minutes, I have 5 data sources created via InfoBurst, and which 3 of them include the data sets from BusinessObjects, and then we have an external Excel file, and we have an external SQL query that comes via an ODBC connection via InfoBurst. Now I can go to my Tableau Server. I go to IB Tab Demos, SpeakPO combined. You notice that I have 5 different hyperfiles that are available in Tableau Server in less than 5 minutes. So now I go to my Tableau Desktop. I want to design a dashboard where I have business objects, my Excel targets, and I have a SQL query that runs via ODBC as well. So I click on Tableau Server. It shows up all my data sources. I go all the way at the bottom. So here I have my eFashion UNB data source. Let me connect to that first. And I have my lines, then sales revenue. And let's call this my eFashion data set. Now I add my second data set. I go to Tableau Server again. Then I go all the way down. We have a Webi data provider. I click on connect. And now I have my Webi data provider option. So I can bring in my customer state. And I'll do my revenue here. So this is my Webi data provider. Now I'll go to another data set, and then I'll go to Tableau Server again. I go here. I need a Webi report block because I have a lot of formulas that I've created within my Webi report. So I can connect to my Webi report block. And here is my Webi report block, and I have like a lot more data here. So I'll do product group, my revenue. So this is my report block. All right, so I'll bring in my fourth data set, my Tableau Server, and then I go to my ODBC data set. So I bring in my SQL query data set into my Tableau dashboard. So from here, I have my city, product groups, and everything. So I'll have my product names. Then I don't have like proper column names. I should have given that in SQL. So that's why I have as column 1, 2, and 3. So this is my sales numbers. So this is SQL via InfoBurst. Now my final data set, which is my Excel targets that I have. So I can go to my Excel data source via InfoBurst. I click on connect, and I have my Excel data set here. Product category, and then sales. So this is my Excel. So right within the next 5 minutes, I have like 5 different data sources that are brought into one single Tableau dashboard. And from here, I can easily create a storyboard and say, call it like, okay, I can bring in my eFashion one, and then I'll call this what eFashion. And then similarly, I can call this my Webi. I bring in my Webi into this and report block. Report block into it, and SQL, and then Excel. So here we go. In less than 10 minutes, I have all three of my data sets, anything that's available within BusinessObjects into a Tableau dashboard with a hyperfile, along with a SQL data set, which is like any SQL query that you can run via an ODBC connection, and an external data set, which can reside on a SharePoint or a network share platform, and then into a Tableau dashboard. This is a quick and dirty dashboard that I've did, but you can imagine the power that you're going to be leveraging with the help of InfoBurst, where you can bring anything that you have in BusinessObjects, as well as any external data sets, into a Tableau dashboard natively over here. So that's the whole concept of having BusinessObjects as a data source. Even though Tableau doesn't support anything natively within your database connections, you can bring this via InfoBurst and you can leverage everything into it. Now, you might have an option where, okay, I have like 2 or 3 universes. How do I create a join between these universes? How do I do? Because the only option that's available within Tableau Server is that you can do data blending. So data blending works as a left join, where it's kind of a relationship where you have a primary data source and you have a secondary data source, and you can bring in options. But if you want to do a join, there is another option using Tableau Prep. So here I can select like eFashion Universe. I can create a new workflow over here, and I can add multiple universe hyperfiles within Tableau Prep, and then you can create one massive Tableau hyperfile. That is also an option with the help of Tableau workflows that's available on the Tableau server itself. So here I have a universe hyperfile that's published via InfoBurst. Now I can go back and I can add one additional hyperfile or many additional hyperfiles. I have an issue on my Tableau server, but you get the idea with this workflow here. So you can combine and add multiple universes into a single hyperfile with the help of Tableau Prep or Alteryx. Now, I want to show Alteryx as an example here as well. So this is how you would recreate the universe logic. So to create something similar to a universe, the first step, and I can create this quickly so that you can see this as well. So you have to bring in like an input data set, and then you can connect to a database. And that's what I've done here. So I have like a simple select query. So this can be similar to bringing tables into your data foundation layer. And then you can select what are the tables that you need. And then to have a formula, I created a formula logic where first name and last name. And then you have a select set of records. Okay, what are the things that you need for reporting? And then you have a push to Tableau Hyper or Tableau Server tool that's available within Alteryx. And you can imagine how many times you have to use the formula to recreate the universe logic. Can it be done? Yes, they do a great job of combining objects, creating formulas, selections, and sampling and other stuff. But it's not an exact replacement of what the universe semantic layer does in terms of connecting all the objects. Any questions on this quick and dirty workflow that I did by bringing 5 data sets into Tableau?
No questions so
or
far,
any comments?
I think everybody's quite stunned because you covered so much there.
Yeah, that is the logic. I mean, I had to do everything like 5 minutes, so I had to practice so much. But the whole idea of what I wanted to convey today is that anything that's available within BusinessObjects or outside of BusinessObjects, what is the most efficient way to bring it to Tableau Server? That is my objective, right? You might argue that, okay, to bring an ODBC connection, it's easier that I can connect natively from Tableau, or I can publish it directly. To bring an Excel file, it's easier when you use Tableau Desktop. Why should I use InfoBurst? Now, the advantage that you get by using our InfoBurst workflows, that's your one-stop shop for all your scheduling and bursting as well. So imagine you schedule a Webi report as an Excel, and then you consume that Excel into your Tableau Desktop. What if some users want it in PDF? Now, with InfoBurst, you can replace all your scheduling needs for your BusinessObjects, as well as push a data source to Tableau Hyper. Now, again, this is only one part of InfoBurst where we are connecting BusinessObjects to Tableau. Then comes the bursting part that is also taken care within our workflows by pushing Tableau workbooks to PDF and Excel, the other method of pushing Webi to PDF Excel. So you can do a lot more in this one single tool more than anything that you can offer with all the other ETL tools combined. Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. People were asking, about the software and whether it's available on a trial basis and so forth. And the answer is yes. We encourage people to try it out. We offer a free 30-day trial, so you can actually get it up and running in minutes in your environment, and then you can spend the next 30 days evaluating it and trying out your own use cases. So that's definitely available if you're interested in pricing and so forth. It does depend on your BO deployment. So just reach out to us, and John will put in the chat session my email address, so you can feel free to reach out to me as well. If we don't have the version of InfoBurst with workflow, how could we trial this?
Good question. So I can take that, Paul.
Go ahead.
So the workflows is a concept that was introduced in our 64-bit, the latest version. So if you don't see the workflows in your version, you can still accomplish the Webi data provider, database query, and everything via the burst itself. The only thing that you'll be missing is the universe to Tableau hyper. So if you need universe as a data source to Tableau, then you have to upgrade to our latest version of InfoBurst, which is 2021.3, I would say. We're releasing a version by end of September or early October. That's 2021.3. But the one that's available right now will have the same version that whatever I show here, Excel and Universe as well. Josh, we can discuss if you're on an older version, and if you still want to achieve this, we can have a separate chat.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Right.
I think that was all.
Yeah, right. Time.
Questions at this point. But like I said, yeah, you covered a lot there, and especially both the manual methods and, of course, automated methods using tools like InfoBurst. So a lot.
Right.
Yeah, a lot going on there as well. And one other thing that I know you didn't mention, but obviously we're starting to see a lot of interest in this area that you might want to just have a quick word about, is the fact that you could also use this in your standalone Tableau environment as well.
That is correct. So we do have a lot of our customers who are using only Tableau, no business objects, but they are using Redshift queries to be pushed as a Tableau hyper, refreshing an extract using an event-based schedule. There are other features of InfoBurst that are not available within Tableau Server that can be leveraged for standalone Tableau deployments. For example, you can have multiple dashboards that are distributed in multiple PDFs and several emails. InfoBurst has this content grouping feature where you can select the dashboards that you need, stitch it together into a single PDF, and then email it to the user. So that's the part where you can distribute Tableau content, which is the second or the part 2 of InfoBurst itself, once you design the Tableau dashboard.
Right. And the reason I mention it is because obviously a lot of customers who are using both BusinessObjects and Tableau are moving towards using more and more of Tableau. And, it gives them the opportunity to leverage Tableau as well as leverage BusinessObjects when they're using the InfoBurst tool set as well. So that's great. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I'll hand back over to Lucy.